Were you a songwriter? I mean,
Oh, yeah.
you were a performer, but did you write a lot of songs
Oh,
too?
yeah. Over the years, I did have a lot of songs recorded when I was producing, especially, which gives you a little bit of an advantage,
Well, I remember one story you told in the White Book, which was your second book, that you and Paul McCartney were together when they were doing the White Album.
Right.
And you were in when he was writing, was it Obla Di Obla Da?
Obla Di Obla Da and Blackbird and USSR.
You were with him when he was writing those?
Well, we're hanging around. We had at the hotel bungalow at the Beverly Hills Hotel.
Yeah.
And so he sits down and he just starts strumming on these songs. What do you think about this? And da-da-da. I said, well, why don't you try this? And, I go home and I'm driving over Mulholland Drive and I say, wait a minute, was I songwriting with Paul McCartney, And I didn't think anything about it. And then when the songs came out, they say Lennon and McCartney. Now, I didn't expect it to say Lennon Mansfield. But John wasn't there. That's the point, And I think this is one of the great insights into John and Paul was I asked Paul about it. I said, it's Lennon McCartney, but John wasn't there. And he said, we are so in tune with each other, have been together so long, we just have such a symbiotic thing with how we think and write, that I can write a song by myself and I can stop in the middle of something and hear John say, no, not that. Why don't you?
Wow.
He said, so basically we write together when we're not together because we know what each other would do with our...
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
So do you hear in Obla Di Obla Da, do you hear the suggestions?
No, I don't remember.
Did he?
But it was just being a part of it and sitting around. We used to try and get, Paul would sit at the piano sometimes and play the greatest song you ever heard. And he would do like 4 of those. And the next day we'd say, hey, that song about the balloon, I don't remember. Actually, that was John. It was that. Anyway, so we tried to get him to carry a little tape recorder around with him so we could catch some of these songs because they just kind of rolled out.
And they were incredible songs.
Oh, yeah,
and
everyone.
they never showed up again.
Yeah.
Wow.
So.
Wouldn't that be something? Phil, does that happen to you as a songwriter? Do you write something and you just...
I don't write every day. I mean, I could. Sometimes I just need a push.
You're probably the most prolific songwriter and song generator that I know. I mean, just every time I see you, you're handing me something that you've been working on that's just got new stuff on it, and it's just incredible stuff. And I just wonder, do you wake up with a song idea, and then 10 minutes later you get up, you get your coffee, and by the time you get downstairs, you forgot it already, but it was a great song?
Well, I've just been around a long time, and I figure when you're around a long time, it looks like you make a lot of music.
Okay, let me tell you something. He picks me up in the car this morning,
and
he said, "Here, I got up this morning and I recorded this," and he puts a CD.
Actually, what I did was I created an acoustic version of "Between Wyomings," the song we just played.
Okay.
You just played, just so that he could hear. As if it were done like a folk thing with 4 acoustics going. I did that kind of quickly, but it's easy with Pro Tools. You just mute the other tracks.
Sure, take the other tracks. He has done that before. He's walked in and he said, "I didn't get to bed till 2 this morning. I wrote a song last night. Would you like to hear it?"
And it's full orchestration, right?
Oh, it's a fully produced thing. He goes, "Yeah, it's just a little thing I threw together last night." And I was up late last night doing this.
Days Like You, remember that song?
Days Like You, exactly. That's exactly what happened.
Which kind of feels like this last one.
It does. Has that same kind of
jangling thing.
It does. It does. Chuck, ever happened to you in songwriting that you forget something that you...
Oh, all the time, especially if I wake up with a song idea. I'm laying in bed and you've probably had this happen to you, in your dream or whatever, half sleep, it's fully realized, and you think, that's the best song ever written. I'll never forget that. And then, but I've been getting up now because I've got a little, the thing about Phil, what's so great for him is he's a great engineer as well as, everything else. So, he can come in, he's got the whole package and just put something down on, it's just instantaneous for us where we used to have to go book a studio and all that. So I've been doing a little bit of that. I got up the other day, I had something going through my mind, and it took me about 15 minutes to crank up Pro Tools, and I bought actually Phil's Avalon preamp. I had to get that warmed up. And I'm thinking this song in my mind. Don't forget it, man. I finally did get it down, but yes, they escape quite often. Yes.
You used to take a little digital recorder around with you everywhere you went, didn't you, Phil?
Yeah, those old days, a little mini cassette.
Yeah.
In fact, my Lights of Madrid album, I wrote that pretty much that entire album because of that little recorder. because I would be someplace with my classical guitar that was nowhere near a studio,
right?
And I'd feel these melodies coming to me, and I'd hear these things, and I'd put them down as quick as I could, because I don't write. I can't write a single note. I can't read a single note. This week, Hal Leonard. You've heard of the Hal Leonard songbooks?
Yeah.
I've got a Phil Keaggy, Hal Leonard songbook now, 15 songs, and the only thing I could really understand is the front cover photo my son took of me, because I open it up and I can't read a single note.
You don't read a single note.
Well, Glenn Campbell couldn't either.
Glenn Campbell couldn't read music?
When he started, he was a top session player, and he started getting so many bookings, and but he didn't know how to read music, so he would sit down at a session and pretend like something was wrong with his guitar as they started to run it through, and he would learn it. And then he'd just sit down and just nail it,
Whoa!
Yeah. This is what I was told.
Well, that's very believable.
McCartney doesn't read music either.
No, none of them. None of the Beatles did.
And you guys are doing symphonies and stuff, and
yeah. Well, you get somebody who composes, who knows how to put that stuff on paper. You got it made.
Okay. Well, I don't read music either. Chuck?
No.
Yes, you do.
I don't.
Do you not, Chuck?
No. No, I don't either.
Okay, no.
I mean, I know a note. I know it's a G.
I do too.
Chord chart.
Well, chord charts are different, but I mean, I do actually recognize notes. But if I was to sit down and try to figure something out from a sheet music, I have to sit there and put my fingers on the piano and figure out what that note is.
But as far as scoring things and just
you know who's a great arranger? Tom Howard.
Tom
can write, read, do the whole thing. He's just amazing. So is Carl Marsh.
So is Mark Lamardian,
Michael
on.
Martin.
Yeah.
John Catchings is an amazing
arranger.
He can read
would
anything.
He would
and I'm
be.
sure he could score.
Yeah.
You know who else is also? Matt Slocum, fantastic arranger.
Really?
He can write music. He can write string parts out for people.
Wow.
Yeah. Talented guys.
Folks, we're out of time. I'm about to kick these guys out the door and kick myself out the door, too, as a matter of fact. We usually don't have our guests stay till 10, but I like this. I want to tell you once again that there is a special concert coming up to celebrate the 42nd anniversary of the release of the Sgt. Pepper album, and it's happening at the W.O. Smith Nashville Community Music School on Tuesday night from 7 until 9, and it'll feature Phil Keaggy. We hear Winona will be there.
Yes.
That's I don't know if that's been actually confirmed or not.
No, it has been.
Yeah. It has been confirmed? Yeah. Okay. Also, a group called the Wanna Beatles. That'll be fun. I guess they'll do Sgt. Pepper stuff. And Ken, you're going to speak, tell some stories and that type of stuff. We take like Q&A kind of thing.
Yeah, well, Mike Bohan, he and I have got a routine going.
Good. Oh, he's a good man.
Yeah.
Good man. Admission $20 per person, and all the proceeds go to the W.O. Smith Nashville Community School. And give them a call at 255-8355. And Ken's brand new book called Between Wyomings. It'll be there as well. Guys, thank you for making this morning so absolutely special.
Thank you.
It is good to see you. And Ken, anytime you're in town, you have a permanent invitation to come on in. And Ken,
I'm going to speak for all three of us. We love you, Brian.
Well,
yes,
thank you. And I mean, the same goes to you guys. Phil, anytime that you're willing and able, come on in. Love to have you. Chuck, same thing. We need to do part 4 of the Chuck Girard story. I love
it always seems to be a repeat of part 1.
Well, we got to go back and talk about it.
That's right.
The beginning.
When you get older, it's all fresh stuff anyway.
The older you get, the more fresh it sounds.
I can read the same book over and over.
Oh, folks, next Sunday morning, Buddy Green and Pat Flynn in the studio with us, and they've got a concert coming up next Sunday evening.